Alright, just watch this video. Now the reason why there's no sound is because I had to mute the sound. The original video had background music, and if I was to upload this video onto YouTube with the background music, then it will be copyrighted and I can't run ads through the video, and then I can't get paid. So I had to mute the volume so that obviously when I do eventually upload it onto YouTube, I can run ads through it and that. But don't get it twisted, the background music ain't nothing special. It's some airy fairy type of music and that, so you ain't missing out on nothing. So as you can see, obviously you got a bunch of African kids lining up to get some KFC and some fries as a treat. And it just goes to show like how bad things are in Africa. Like even the fact that these kids are lining up to get KFC like it's a treat. I mean, really and truly, KFC should be a treat because it's junk food, but junk food is so accessible nowadays, it's not regarded as a treat. I remember back in the day, like it would be a treat to get KFC or McDonald's or something like that. Now it's nothing. Now, I don't know if I'm 100% correct in saying this economically, but yeah, economically, Africa is a third world continent, or at least some of the countries, most of the countries in Africa are third world countries. And it just goes to show, like, only in first world countries, like obviously the UK, Australia, Canada and America, only in countries like that will we complain about having it hard and how bad it is when it really isn't. Like, there's some child in Afghanistan right now who's had his house blown to smithereens. If you don't like the example of Afghanistan, what about Palestine? A child that's had their house blown to smithereens along with their parents. There's some child in Africa who ain't ate for 2 days, who has to walk 10 miles for water. And you think you living in Canada, America, UK, or Australia, you think you got it bad? Imagine having no food, no water, no shelter, and you're covered in flies. Like, you think you got problems. You ain't got no fucking problems, blood. And the problems that you do have, rude boy and rude girl watching this right now, are all self-inflicted. All of them. All the problems that you've got, 99.9% of them are self-inflicted. You're homeless. Why are you homeless? You've made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. You may think it's someone else's fault. You may think, oh, Gordon Brown said this and done this a few years ago, so that's what's fucked up my life. You may think that because they're not paying you as much for Universal Credit or UC or Unicred, whatever one of those stupid names you want to give it and that, you think that's the reason why your life is fucked. Rude boy and rude girl watching this right now. The fact that you're on Universal Credit, you're on Universal Credit because you made bad decisions and that. You know, someone who does everything they're supposed to, they get up on time, go to work, you know, before going to work, like to get that job, to get that career, they studied hard, you know, they turn up on time to work. They're willing to work overtime. They're willing to work on the weekends and that. They're disciplined. They don't have these problems. They're not on Universal Credit. They're not. Man, we're talking about depression. Fam, go up to one of these children in Africa and tell them how bad your life is and how depressed you are. And you will think twice. Imagine, yeah, you got these dumbass people in the West, yeah, talking about, I've got depression. My life is depressing. You know, I'm in a depressive state. Imagine taking them, their fat ass and going over to Africa, seeing these children starving, looking like skeletons on the side of the streets. Imagine them standing in the face of these children and saying, I'm depressed, my life is bad, I have no motivation and that. Imagine that. Fam, you don't know about how hard it is and that. Like, we live life on easy mode in the West. Literally, like even just having an English accent. Yeah, people want to listen to you just because of the way we speak. As long as you don't have no fucked up accent like a Liverpudlian accent or something like that, people are going to want to speak to you, listen to you speak. You know, if you're from London, you're blessed. I mean, well, there's some nerds, and I know everyone can sound like Jay-Wise, but if you're from London, you're blessed to have a certain accent and that, because, you know, a lot of people, they rate the London accent, innit? So I don't want to hear about people talking about, oh, I'm oppressed, I'm depressed, and about shut the fuck up, blood. You ain't got no problems. And if you have got problems, most of your problems are self-inflicted. Oh, I'm a crackhead and I ain't got blood. Yeah, you started smoking a pipe, rude boy. Talk about black oppression, but ain't no fucking black oppression. You watch my videos and you see me, I've got 5 properties and that. Tell me how I'm oppressed as a black man. I'm not. And nor are you. But it's an excuse to not become successful. The generation that came before us, which is our parents, they've drummed and drilled it into us. Your life is going to be hard as a black person. You won't be able to succeed. There's a glass ceiling. They're telling you that because they're making excuses as to why they were not successful. Because if they said, oh, you can be anything you want, there's no glass ceiling, you don't have to work twice as hard as a white man and that, it's easy to be successful. You can instantly turn around to your mum who's sitting in a dirty council house and say, well, why are you not successful? Why don't you have a mansion? Why don't you have a Ferrari or at least a nice car and a nice detached house? Why? She ain't going to have no excuse. Your dad ain't going to have no excuse. So, of course, they had to run this card of black oppression because it's their excuse for being a failure. Imagine they had no excuse for being a failure. Imagine they had no excuse for growing up in a country like the UK or America where there's so much opportunity in that. Imagine they had no excuse as to why they are a failure. Imagine they can't use the race card and that. They will have no excuse. So therefore it will be their fault. But, you know, people that look like me, if they can't use the black oppression card, then they'll use, depression. Or I had a rough upbringing. My mum didn't treat me as good as my other sibling. Man, shut up, man. Anyway, man, that's enough ranting for one evening. What was it? It's 12:03. And got me out here grinding.